I think L&D talks, we spend a lot of time talking about our data problems, right? Like you hear this,
Yeah.
you've done, you hear this all the time, the L&D data problems, right? But I start to wonder a lot if it's not like a learning and development professional business acumen problem, right?
Yeah.
Like I had my own problems there. I went and got an MBA. Like you can find the information,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think Kevin does a great job there
Yeah.
too.
Absolutely. I mean, for our listeners, definitely go check out the episode with Kevin. It's all about data. And I think it's a valid point, Sarah. I think often what we miss is the skill to be data proficient, or at least comfortable with the idea of it. Is, we often compare it with the idea of, if you look at when I started my career in marketing was very much about the 4 Ps, and it was about being a creative, and the element of data was still kind of outsourced to a different team. But today, data is such an intrinsic part of the marketing role, and being able to leverage that data. And we're seeing the same shift in L&D, where you need to be comfortable with data. Not to say you need to be the absolute whiz in data, and you can absolutely bring in people who are dedicated in that skill, but you need to be comfortable enough to understand what the data is telling you, or to at least ask the right questions. And often I think that's the underrated skill, is asking the right questions from the data. The data can pretty much tell you whatever you want it to tell you. If you're asking the wrong questions, you're going to walk away with the wrong conclusions from it. And before we kind of
if you're not designing, sorry, if you're not designing for that data, like if you're not designing the program to track and create those data streams to measure the pieces that you're really looking for. So if I'm looking for, taking 9 months to 90 days, clearly I'm looking for time metrics and time, time on site, time in program, time to completion, and then other pieces that relate to productivity, measures and learning competency measures and value of learning to job, time on job. Like those measures are significant, right?
Yeah.
But they're all built within the design.
That's, I think, spot on, Sarah. It's built into the design, right? It isn't an afterthought. And I think this is often where what we see is you get what you measure, right? If, say, for example, you're trying to cut down your onboarding from 6 months to 3 months, if you're not measuring whether that time is changing, then you're not going to get it in your data, right? If all you're looking at is whether someone opened and completed the course that you designed, then when you report back, that's all you're going to have. And often, I think when people are talking about data problems, it goes beyond just making sense out of data. The problem is you didn't even have the instruments in place to measure that data in your design. And so the problem's probably a lot earlier on in the process, rather than afterwards going, I don't have the data.